I want to welcome you all to our webinar, A Simple Online Marketing Plan for Retail Holiday Success. Thanks again for joining us today. As you know, the holiday season is sneaking up on us really fast and one of the biggest times of the year for you in retail. The final months typically account for such a large portion of your annual sales, so it's important to think and plan. Now, this season also, because of everything that's happened this year, it's likely to be different from years past. What I do want to let you know is that we ran a survey recently. It was a Small Business Pulse report. We actually found that consumers have made it a big priority this year to actually shop from small businesses. We saw that about 71% of those polled said that they actually plan on buying items on their shopping list from small business this season. Shoppers also seem ready and willing to expand their horizons as 62% are planning to visit a new small business that they've never shopped at before the year is through. And as you'll see in just another minute, e-commerce is going to play in a big role this year, as 10% in our poll actually said that they needed to visit us. Only 10% said they needed to visit a physical store in order to buy the things that they need to. Like I said, the ability for you to sell online is going to play a big role in your success this season. This year, we've seen that e-commerce has increased by 30% as a result of the pandemic. And we're anticipating that aside from home delivery options, buying online and picking up in store is going to be here to stay and continue into the new year moving forward. Overall, there's expected to be 7.4 million new digital buyers due to the pandemic this year. The holidays are such a busy time of year, and with all of those promotions and communications out there, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking and wondering whether you're going to be able to get your audience's attention. The thing is, you want to know where to spend your time and what actions to take. With a plan in place, you're going to be able to stay on track to get the word out to the people who matter most to your business this season. You want to be able to get in front of new and existing customers. And that's why today we're going to be talking about a variety of online marketing tools that you'll want to use. You want to use them together in your strategy. And while today we're going to be focusing a lot on retail, a lot of these tips are going to be able to be applied to other industries as well. So keep that in mind. Now today we're going to show you how to come up with a plan and really share some ideas to keep your marketing on track through the craziness of the holiday season. This plan is going to make it more likely for your business to be found and also allow you to stay top of mind with the people who matter most. With a little planning and coordination, you're going to be able to have a successful holiday season. With that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda and see more specifically what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to talk about how to plan and prepare for the holidays. Then we're going to talk about executing your plan, and we'll talk about 6 key marketing tools that you'll want to use together in your strategy. And last but not least, we're going to talk about some steps that are going to help you to keep the momentum going after the holiday season. There's going to be some key opportunities for you to pay attention to. Before we get into all of the details, allow me to just introduce myself and my guest speaker for the day. My name is Stephanie French, and I'm the content manager for webinars here at Constant Contact. I'm also very happy to introduce our guest speaker for the day, Dave Charest, who's the Director of Content Marketing for Constant Contact.
Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad you can share all of your great tips and suggestions with us today as well.
Always a pleasure to be here, and thank you to everyone joining us here today.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about preparing your holiday marketing. One of the first things to think about when you're thinking about the holidays is to think about these key dates that you're going to want to prepare your marketing and your offers around. Now, there are going to be some big shopping days that have become popular over the last few years. And also, don't forget some of those big national holidays. Those can be things that you can form messaging or promotions around as well. Of course, we've got Black Friday, and this is the day after Thanksgiving. It's a major retail holiday and the traditional day that retailers typically go in black in terms of sales. Now, another thing to keep in mind that I've already seen some holiday promotions going live from small businesses and large businesses alike. So retailers are really ramping up their sales even before and even during the Thanksgiving holiday. Then we've got Small Business Saturday, and if you're not familiar with that, it is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and this is where people are really encouraged to shop small and local. Then on Cyber Monday, that Monday after Thanksgiving, we know, like I was saying, e-commerce has really permeated business throughout the year, but Cyber Monday is really just a date that's dedicated to buying online for consumers. Next up is Super Saturday, and I'm not sure how many of you are already familiar with this one, but it's a big shopping day and a big push for small businesses. That's because it lands on the Saturday before Christmas when we know a lot of people are out there doing their last minute shopping. And then we've got these traditional holidays, Hanukkah running from the 10th of December to the 18th, Christmas on the 25th, and then Kwanzaa from the 26th to January 1st. Those are some dates that you want to pay attention to. Another thing to think about in these early days is to really sit down and get your lists ready. Sending targeted, relevant messages is really going to be the best way to communicate with your audience and get them to take action. You want them to buy from you, right? This means sitting down, segmenting your audience into smaller groups so that you can really customize the messaging for each of them to entice them and catch their attention in the first place. When it comes to retail, a study by Google a while back actually found that there are 4 different kinds of shoppers throughout the season. Dave, do you want to walk us through that information?
Yeah, sure. So I think what's interesting here is you're going to hear us talking a lot about this idea of the segmentation that Steph is mentioning, or this idea of just breaking people into smaller groups. Because, today and in the time leading up to where we are today, people are really expecting to get more relevant information from the people that they have chosen to receive information from. And what I like about this study by Google is it really helps you think about one of the ways that you can start thinking about how you would start communicating with people and when you would start communicating with people and the types of things that you would offer them, right? And so, we're looking here that there's basically 4 groups here, right? So there's early bird shoppers, there's deal seekers, there's last minute shoppers, and then there are those people that are kind of evergreen. And so if you look at the timeline here, we're really talking anytime up to November 26th, which we would consider pre-holiday, is really those early bird shoppers, and all the way up to like Cyber Monday and Black Friday as well, right? Those deal seekers, of course, those big, sale holiday type things like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, are those people actually looking for some type of deal. And then you're really into your final push when you're starting to think about, the days right up until Christmas, those last minute people. And I'm sure there's probably some of those on the line listening here today. And I'm thinking of my family. We've got like the gamut, right? I have a sister that is like probably done all of her shopping already. I know we haven't even started yet, my wife and I. So it's like you got this gamut of people that you can start to think about, but it helps you start to imagine like, okay, you can start to look at the information that you have, if you've been selling online before, or even if you've been tracking sales on a system within your retail store, you can start to look at when people are doing things and start to figure out, all right, what are the types of offers that I can create for those people specifically? I think the other thing to think about beyond just this stuff here, of course, is what's most important is really knowing who it is that you're trying to reach, right? Who are those people that are shopping with you? And then also thinking about different things in terms of just, who are your most valuable customers, or another way to start thinking about this, right? What are the things that you can offer to them? Is there something that you can do, make a special offer or giveaway to these people that are really loyal to your business? And then how can you create content in a fun way that actually speaks to those people? So I think it's knowing those things, knowing that, this year particularly, as some of the information that we've seen, price is going to be important. Speed on how you can do those is also going to be important. But ultimately, it really comes down to knowing the audience, knowing your customers, and that's going to give you the opportunity to kind of stand out in a way that maybe the big retailers can't.
Yeah, you can really give that personalized messaging, having done a little bit of work upfront in segmenting your list. And once you've segmented your list, you're going to be able to execute a good message with those people in all of these channels, email, social, paid ads, and all of that. You're just going to want to modify what you do and really adjust your messaging as well, depending on where you're at within the season. Now, when we're talking about segments, I want to talk about some other ideas here because in the stats earlier, we talked about how a lot of shoppers are more likely to buy online and then go pick up in store. Now, for this, I'd actually suggest creating a segment of people who are within a certain distance of your physical store, maybe 15 or 20 miles. You really think about where you're at. If you're in a big city or a smaller town, that might affect that distance. But if you have a way to find those people, you can feature those options in your messaging so that you can let them know that you have safe and convenient pickup options so they don't have to worry about possible shipping days, delays, and paying those shipping prices as well. Now, once you've determined your dates and all of that, it's time to sit down and actually nail down an offer or offers that you'll be using to promote throughout the holiday season. What I really want to encourage you all to do is start by identifying your marketing goal. Nail down your business goals, and that's going to allow you to determine which offers and tactics that you're going to use in order to get the word out and accomplish that goal. Now, most of you, I am assuming, are probably looking to increase your revenue. I want you to get specific and I want you to write down a number on that goal. So if you want to increase your revenue, think about maybe a total that you want to increase by due to this year or maybe by past retail seasons in 2019, or maybe a percentage that you want to increase by. That way you have a number that you're really going to be striving to meet, and you can make sure that all of your marketing is going to be focused on helping you to meet that goal. The next step is to really understand your audience. And of course, those segments we just talked about are going to be important, playing an important role here. Now, Dave, what advice do you have for our audience when it comes to understanding their own audience to create a great holiday offer?
Yeah, so it really comes down to, again, understanding who those people are and what they want and need. And I think a good way to think about it, because it can be a little abstract sometimes when you're thinking about, like, maybe if we say like persona or something like that, like who are those people? One of the little tricks that I like to do is actually think about a real customer that I have, a real customer that I know, that I've had some interactions with, that, you know, figure out what segment that person would fall into, and then think about creating an offer specifically for them. What would be something that would wow them, right? What would be something that would make them say like, oh yeah, I can't wait to come in and buy that from you, right? And then if you start there, that can help you figure out like what that thing is, and then that offer that you're going to create is actually going to help you attract other people and speak to those other people that you're trying to reach as well. And, so just really, really think about that, and think about where that person may be seeing you, either online, maybe they're walking by the store. I mean, you'll probably have a lot less of that this year, but maybe not, depending on where we are, right? So I think it's like thinking about them specifically, and that helps pinpoint those places that you're going to want to go, and how you're going to create those offers.
I like that idea of sitting down and thinking about a real live person to help you nail down all of these pieces, and thinking about that when you're telling your story or the messaging that you're putting together. Now, the next thing to really understand is what those customers, even in your different segments, are going to find most valuable. Could you talk about this step and discuss what to think about here in terms of the value a small business is providing?
Yeah, so I mean, a couple of things that I think we want to think about. I mean, even in the survey that we're seeing, right, a few things stick out, right? One of them is that, again, as you mentioned earlier in the presentation here today, is that people do want to support small businesses. And so think about those reasons, why they would want to support your business, and, make that known, have those conversations, tell those stories, let people know that they're helping out a small business. And I think the other thing to think about is that, some of the factors that come into play here are obviously going to be price and speed, right? Now, the good news is that only 36% of consumers that we polled are really said that they're going to choose the cheaper option. It's not always about that, but keep that in mind when you're thinking about who your audience is, right? So price seems to be a really significant factor for those people that are over the age of 55, for example. right? And so you got to think about that. But I think the bigger thing after price is really thinking about speed, right? How fast can you get something to people? And people do love that option of being able to like, and I've found myself doing this a lot over the course of the summer and moving into this holiday season, but buying something online and then going to pick it up in the store, right? Because then I don't have to wait, I can just go pick it up. And so thinking about those things and really demonstrating the value that you're gonna offer to those people is really gonna help you create something that is going to resonate with the people that you're trying to reach.
Definitely resonating and providing value to customers. So we're going to talk about two different things here in just a second when it comes to creating the offer. We'll provide you a couple of different examples if you want to create one or multiple offers throughout the season. So let's go ahead and do that. So first up are some discount offer ideas. So one thing to think about here is you might even consider doing some sort of special bundling of your product or products where it includes some exclusive holiday pricing or some of these other things, 15% off all of your new items, or I like this example, 20% off when you spend $40 or more, having that gate there. I know a lot of you, when you signed up for the webinar today, were wondering, how to cross-sell or upsell to people to increase the value of the sales. And I think this is a good way to do it. I know myself in particular, when I'm shopping online, I'm really wanting to get that deal or that free shipping. And if I'm just, 15 or $10 away from getting that, I'm more likely to purchase something extra in order to get that free shipping or that discount code. And then again, going back to some of those segments, one example here is maybe 25% off or something like that for your most loyal customers and really treating them special. On the other side of that are some free offers or even resources that can be a part of your offer, because you don't always have to offer a discount like Dave was saying, with the number being like 36% of people who really focus on that. You might offer some sort of free gift with a purchase over a certain amount again. You might offer free gift wrapping or even provide some sort of valuable content. Maybe it's a holiday gift buying guide or holiday planning ideas. And we're going to talk a lot more about those content ideas later on that you might want to incorporate either as your offer or even into some of your other messaging. Now, knowing your offer and really thinking about those steps is going to allow you to start to come up with some relevant messaging in order to encourage people to take action. When you're doing this, I want you to focus on 3 questions that you're going to ask yourself. And this is going to allow you to provide the information that your customers need that is going to encourage them to take that action. So the first question, this is going to serve, the answer to this is going to serve as the headline. What are you offering? Your headline should be fairly brief and it should pique their interest enough where they want to read more. That leads into the second question, which leads to the message body. Here you want to provide details and enough information so that they're going to be able to take the action you want them to take. So how is it going to help the reader? Let them know the benefits of them taking advantage of the offer. Number 3, what should they do next? And this is going to serve as your call to action. So especially when you're thinking about email and you're designing your button and the text on your button, that's what it's going to be. You want to tell people specifically in your call to action what it is you want them to do. Do you want them to buy now? It can be a really simple call to action, or you can do something that's a little bit more creative, as long as it's straight and narrow that people know exactly what it is you want them to do. And the thing is, you're going to be able to answer these 3 questions for any of the channels that we're going to talk about today. Just depending on the channel that you're using, you're probably going to want to adjust the verbiage slightly, in a lot of cases just to pare it down. Because when we think about social media or even creating an online ad, you're going to have some limitations where people's brains are moving a little bit quicker and you don't have that time to really expand on your message for all the different channels. All right, so the next thing that we really want to talk about today in your holiday plan is selling online. We've already talked about how this is very important, so we're going to run a poll. We want to know, what e-commerce tools are you already using? You should see the question on your screen. Maybe you're not currently selling online. If you're not, we want to know. Maybe you're using Constant Contact's online store, Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Or if you're using Etsy or some other e-commerce platform or shopping cart tool, definitely tell us in the questions window. Right now, I see I'm not currently selling online. That is currently in the lead. We've got 50%, 57% of people saying that. The next second option is Shopify. We've got a couple of people using Constant Contact's online store, which is exciting. If you don't already know, we do have that option. Next up is WooCommerce and BigCommerce, which are almost even right now. So we'll give everyone just another minute or so to tell us. And I see Andrea. Andrea is using GoDaddy. Sharon says, I own a travel agency, so I don't have a website. Cheryl is selling through Facebook. I would assume the Facebook Marketplace, if that's what you mean. Joe is using the online store through their POS system, Rain. Steven's using Etsy. Everett is using a couple of different platforms. That's great. Amazon, Facebook, Marketplace, Instagram. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of the poll, and I'll just share the results so that everyone can see them. So about 50% of people are saying they're not currently selling online. Then it comes to Shopify, WooCommerce. I thought that's interesting, especially due to the pandemic. So if you're not already selling online, here in a second, we're going to show you a couple of options within Constant Contact. So like we said, you want to make sure that you're getting ready for to sell online before the holidays are even here. So that way you're ready and people can definitely buy from you and give you their money. So with Constant Contact, you can create a website and online store, really easy to do with our AI-powered website builder, artificial intelligence. You just plug in a few things and it creates a website for you. You can tack on the store there and start selling your items. And if you're not ready to create a full website or publish one, shoppable landing pages is another great opportunity for you to do that. Also, if maybe you just want to keep your shoppers focused on a different segment or a particular offer for the type of customer they are, you could create multiple landing pages in order to keep customers focused there. Now, we do have some additional webinars. If you want to learn about both of these tools, we've got one for creating a website and online store and also creating a shoppable landing page. Rachel just shared that in the questions window. So click on that and you'll be able to see those webinars as well as additional webinars we have coming up.
Yeah, I think, Steph, real quick before we move on, I think the big thing there for the 50% of people who aren't currently selling online, you know, as we're seeing, obviously online shopping is going to be huge this year, or at least that's what we're anticipating. And a shoppable landing page, I just wanted to mention, is if you're already using Constant Contact, is a really quick and easy way to actually get a product. You don't have to do all of your products, particularly if there's not time for that or you don't feel comfortable doing that at this time. But it allows you to, you know, pick 1, 2, or 3 products that maybe are great sellers that you can actually start testing the waters and seeing what happens, right? So that's I just want to mention that as a good way to kind of get started with that, because I think we're going to see, you know, a lot of the businesses that we're seeing kind of having some success through this period in time are those that are kind of shifting the focus to a little bit more about on the e-com side of things.
Definitely. The word of the year is pivoting, and that's definitely something you want to make sure of. And I like that whole idea of, you know, if you've got a lot of products and you haven't started an online store, picking some of your top sellers to start selling online and test those waters. So another part of setting up your online store and making sure you're prepped for the holidays is to optimize your product descriptions. Dave, do you want to tell us a little bit about writing great product descriptions?
Yeah, so I guess a couple of things to think about, right, is you're going to hear us saying this over and over again is really, you know, right, you got to understand your buyer, know who it is that you're writing for. And again, one of the easiest ways to do that is to really think about a real person, somebody that's actually your customer, and think about, you know, how would you be talking to them if they were in front of you in the store and you were describing this product to them, right? So understand that. How would you sell them on this product, right? So think about that and think about using that in your product descriptions, right? And do so in a way that allows you to tell a story. focus on those benefits that they're going to get from you. And also a big thing to think about too is that when you're thinking online, it's a lot different to consume content online than it is to consume content on a written piece of material, right? Which is why we're always recommending that you need to think about white space. You need to format things. So people tend to scan first. So whether we're talking about emails, whether we're talking about product descriptions, you really want to think about providing some white space around the words that you use on a page, and think about using headlines and bullets and things that capture people's attention, because they're going to be scanning that page first before they dig into read, if they do dig into read at all. But one thing that you can know for sure, that if you just present them with this giant wall of text, that's going to be a no thanks, I don't want to take a look at that. I think the other thing to mention here, aside from the stories that you're telling or what you're writing or what you're saying about a product or service that you're offering during these times, is that you need to provide really great photos or even little videos of showing people using your product, right? Using that thing that they could potentially buy from you, because people are trying to visualize themselves using that thing, or in many cases, depending on what the nature of the product is, they really want to get a sense of kind of like what it would be like to look at and see it without actually holding it in their hands, right? And so those images and those little videos that you're going to use are going to be really important to think about.
I think one of the things that stands out in what you said is focusing on the benefits, especially for small businesses. I see a lot of them actually focus on features. You want to focus on the benefit of those features to your consumers. So definitely pay attention to that. We've actually got a blog on our website. Rachel, if you could share the link in the chat window there. If you're looking for more information on optimizing your product descriptions, we've even got a little bit more advanced information talking about some SEO information in there so that you can go in and really optimize. But these are some of the top tips to make sure, especially if you're just getting started. Now, earlier we said, in-store pickup options are really going to be big this year. So you just want to make sure that your customers know whatever options you have for pickup or shipping and everything like that, and make sure it's in the messaging that you're pushing out. You want to let people know that you have convenient and safe options to receive their order, and that way they feel comfortable shopping with you. You might even want to let them know some of the safety precautions if they have to come into your store to pick that up that you're taking while preparing their order. Now, if you need to set up an online store, or for those of you who are already using the Constant Contact store, you can now display the option for pickup when you're editing the products right within your store. Now, especially when it comes to Constant Contact, it's really important that you connect any of those other e-commerce solutions that you're using when you can. You want to sync your customer data so that you can begin mailing to them. We have integrations with some of the most popular ones like Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and Etsy. Etsy is actually one of our newer integrations. And towards the end of the webinar, we're going to share a link to a landing page that has tons of great additional holiday information. In there is going to be a checklist. So if you need some help setting up some of those bigger platforms with Constant Contact, definitely check those out. Now, it's predicted that there's a lot of opportunity for, I think a few of you actually said you're already selling in your own store, plus other marketplaces like Etsy and even eBay. That'll really help you to compete this season. So you want to make sure that you're connecting any of those other platforms with your Constant Contact account, so that way you can let people know where to buy all of your products and that your customer information is all synced to the same place. All right, at this point, I think we've got some great tips and suggestions for creating that plan. Let's move on to talk about executing that plan and using multiple channels. So as I mentioned before, there's a variety of channels that we really want to suggest that you use in your strategy. Your website, this should really serve as your home base for all of your marketing activities. And you should be linking back to it from all of these other places that we're talking about here. Listings and review sites, this is how people are going to find you. Social media is how you can keep people informed and start to spread the word. Email marketing to promote your offer and provide valuable content to your subscribers. Content, especially if it's on a blog, it's going to help you to get found. And this is also another way that you can start to provide more value to your customers. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about paid ads. This is how you're going to be able to amplify your efforts. So let's go ahead and talk about a website. Dave, what advice do you have for setting up a website and optimize it for holiday shopping success?
Yeah, I think so. One of the big things to think about is obviously, right, your website is, as Steph is mentioning, your home base. This is the place that, let's say somebody mentions to a friend, like word of mouth, oh, you should go check out this place. Oftentimes, particularly today, as people are figuring out whether or not like places are open or what the situation is, the first place they're going to go is a website. And so you want to make sure that, you have if you have a particular offer out there, you could use something like you'll see on the screen there, you have a pop-up sign-up form, right? That gives them what that offer may be in exchange for their email address, which is a great way to be able to follow up with them after the fact, particularly if they don't make a purchase right now. It's that opportunity to get them in and potentially get them to the store, right? You want to make sure that you are updating your hours and doing those things and making sure that they have the information that they need. I think another thing to think about, aside from just maybe even adding some design elements to your website to make it feel like the holiday, you also want to think about, again, making sure that people know the things that you are doing or the things that have changed due to what is happening in terms of COVID or anything like that, in terms of what that shopping experience will be like for them. And again, I'm going to say it again, is encourage visitors to join your list. Or again, because if people come to your website and they leave, the likelihood of them coming back is not so great. But if you have a way to stay in contact with them and influence that decision later on down the line, whether that's shopping online or coming into your store, that's a huge value to be able to have that ability to contact somebody on your terms versus waiting for them to do something. So I would think about things like that.
Definitely. And if one of your big goals this season is to get more people on your list so that you can communicate with them later, you might even have your offer exclusive just to the people on your email list, but let people know who visit your website. They can get that offer if they sign up to your mailing list. So the second tool we want to talk about today is listings and review sites. When someone runs an online search, listings and review sites can and will come up with your information. Potential customers are likely looking at these listings to see what you offer. And people like me, I'm definitely looking at reviews. I want to see whether you're trustworthy and reliable to shop with. Do you provide great customer service? Will you help me out if a product doesn't work out or something's wrong with it? And the more places that you're listed, the better chance that they're going to have to see your information. Dave, can you talk about the role that listings and review sites are going to play in addition to that in order to drum up some sales this holiday
Yeah,
season?
sure. So I think these are listings and review sites. We're looking here at Google My Business. We're also talking about things like Yelp. If you have listings on those things, I think the biggest thing that you need to make sure that you do, if you haven't already, is make sure that you're claiming those listings, right? And that's often as simple as just clicking a button saying, this is my business. And then you just have to go through a little process to prove that that's your business, right? But once you do that, you're actually in control of the information that is on that page. And so it's really important because these days, you don't really know how people are going to find you. We know there are a number of ways, but like I mentioned, somebody might mention something and they go looking for a website. Somebody may say, somebody might be out and about and say like, ooh, where can I go for such and such while I'm out and about, right? And so where they actually find you, I know I'm a big Yelp user when it comes to finding places to eat. So I'm always going there and seeing what's around, right? And so if the information on there is wrong, or not conducive to what is happening with your business right now, that can actually cause you to lose business, right? And so you want to make sure that you are claiming those things, updating those things with what your holiday hours are, putting any messages on them to let people know what's going on, how they can contact you, of course. And then, of course, many of them, such as Google My Business, allow you to put a little promotional message up that for a certain amount of time, which you can actually promote a particular offer that you have going on. And it's another area where you can think about segmentation and that idea of providing something special for people actually coming in through that source. So that's why those things are really important. So make sure that you are updating those sites.
Yeah, in a year where literally everything has changed and it can change by the minute or the hour, we've probably been closed, we've been open, hours have changed. definitely make sure you're paying attention to that so people know how to find you and they're not getting upset if they show up at your business or are trying to call you during what says your business hours and you're not open. So the next tool is going to be social media. And when it comes to social, you really want to think about this from a few different viewpoints. First and foremost, social profiles are a way that customers can also find you in those search results. So you just want to make sure that your profiles are, again, set up with those standard pieces of information that Dave was talking about for listings and reviews, making sure everything is up to date. Of course, you're going to want to promote your offer in some posts, but there are also a lot of other opportunities to reach people and also stay top of mind. Can you share some other types of posts that our audience will want to think about that doesn't necessarily promote their offers?
Yeah, so one thing to think about that I think I'll start with is this idea of, right, social media, as I often describe it, as like social media is this big party that's going on, right? And so that's great. It's also run by algorithms that those platforms that you're on are using, which means they limit who sees what, and it's based on a lot of other things that are out of your control. And so one of the big things that you should think about doing on occasion is thinking about using those social media sites to invite people to the after party, right? And in that sense would be, right, inviting them onto your email list. So again, providing something of value to them in exchange for that email list, because then you now have the ability to contact people on your terms, right? Versus waiting for, an algorithm to say, okay, this person can see that. So that's very important. The other thing to think about is social media. Okay, so it's social. It's social for a reason. It's not always about sell, sell, sell. It's really about building some type of community, which is really important for local businesses and small businesses in that realm, right? And so people, share behind the scenes. Actually, we had a good conversation about this on one of our Power Hour Pros with Tamika Catchings, where she talked about this idea of thinking of like social media like the Jumbotron, right, that you would see at a basketball game. And really what that means is everybody's really excited to see themselves on the Jumbotron. So think about how you can include the people that are coming to your business. How can you show what that experience is like for people and have them feel engaged and excited about that, right? Also think about if you're having maybe a special shopping experience or you've got a special offer, you can create a Facebook event for it. That's just another way to kind of get the algorithm kind of working in your favor a bit, right? Because it seems to show that information to more people that way and have another way for you to get into it. Again, location tagging, encourage people coming into your shop to tag themselves when they're there and share something, because that also helps get the word out. And then think about if it's right for your business or what's going on, think about hashtags. And that could mean, so a hashtag, right, groups things together of like conversation. And so take a look and see what's out there, if there's something existing to tie into in a natural and organic way, or try to create something specifically for your business that people can have fun with and tag themselves in, right? But those are some of the things to think about when you're thinking about social media specifically. I think we'll talk about ads a little bit later, where that's where you can start to get really more targeted with thinking about creating an offer more specifically to reach those people. But this is a good way to think about, right, how you can start engaging and start building community with those people so that you're top of mind when it comes time for them to want to buy something.
I like that whole idea of getting on the Jumbotron, as you put it. I think another good idea to think about here is on your social profiles, I would actually suggest updating or at least changing out your cover photo. Maybe feature the holiday offer that you have and give it a little bit of a holiday theme. We do have a photo editor in Constant Contact. You could then take that image and then post it on, Facebook and things like that. But that's another great way to catch people's attention who make it to your page. Now, with social media, when you're promoting your offer, we want to encourage you to use a series of 3 posts about your offer, because that's going to allow people or get in that algorithm, especially with social media, and remind people. This year's been crazy busy, and especially during the holidays, people are even more busy. So if I see a post and I get distracted by my son needing something, I can actually have more of a chance to see that again in the news feed. And then maybe I'll be more likely to take an action, like in this case, register to or sign up to the mailing list to take advantage of the offer. And this is going to play a role here when we talk about email as well. So email, I've seen a few questions, people want to know which channels to be on. Again, these channels should be working together in a sense. Email is really how you're going to reach people directly in their inbox. And email actually has one of the best ROIs at $38 for every dollar spent. You're going to want to use email to really promote your offer. You can share value and also keep subscribers updated through the holiday season. So again, when you're promoting your offer here, you can announce it, then you can remind it, maybe a week or four before the offer expires, and then provide that last chance reminder. Dave, what other advice do you have for creating great holiday emails?
Yeah, so one of those things is frequency here. I know everybody's always concerned about, well, how often should I be sending things? And I think one of the things to mention is that typically, particularly in the e-com and the retail space, right? And this is the real answer is always it depends on what your particular situation is and who your particular audience is. But as a general rule of thumb, when you're thinking about how often you should send, right? Typically, when you send more, that ends up equaling more sales. Okay, and so I love, you're mentioning here this kind of 3 email series or the 3 social media post series is because what we're trying to do is really get you to think about not just sending one email and being done with it, particularly when you're going to be competing with a lot of other noise out there, and there's going to be a lot of other competition in the inbox, is that sometimes you do need to send more frequently. And so at least what this gets you to do is think about announcing what that offer is, reminding people about it, and then giving them that last chance to take action, which is sometimes the kick in the butt people need to actually do that thing, because a lot of times they're actually thinking about, oh, yeah, I actually do want to do that thing, but kind of life gets in the way, right? And so they don't do it. And so this is why it's important to start thinking about that. I think the other thing to think about in any of the things that you're doing is really keeping it simple, being really focused on what it is that you want people to do. You mentioned those 3 questions to answer earlier, like what are you offering, why should the reader care, and what should they do next, right? That's a really great way to think about it. And then just in terms of design, right, we're really thinking about a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. Right, so you have some image that supports the message that you're trying to send. You have a little bit of text that lets them know why they would want to do that, and that call to action is, what should they do next? And so how do they take advantage of what you're sending? I think the other thing to really think about is in doing all of that too, whether it's on social media or within your emails, you can really start to build some excitement around your products and tap into both of those channels to reinforce that information, because if people are seeing things in your list, then they're seeing things on social media. They're not always they're not sitting there waiting. I can't wait to see what business X is posting today, right? In some cases, but if you can build excitement, maybe they are. But oftentimes they're just seeing those things fleeting, and the more you can do to stay top of mind and kind of let it sink in a little bit is going to help you. And lastly, I'll just mention that, of course, making sure that your emails are properly themed, right, for the time of year or what you're promoting, makes sense. And so that's where things like the templates that you can choose from for different holidays within Constant Contact, and then you can make those your own, are really important, because it helps, again, set the tone and get people kind of in the mood for purchasing from you.
Definitely. And we've actually got a lot of different templates. We've got one for Thanksgiving here. We've got a few animated gift templates where they get this movement and snowflakes falling, and I can't think of what else. And then we've got some other fun ones. These are a little bit more fun. We've got some that are a little bit more standard for those traditional holidays as well. So lots of options. Just make sure that you go in and choose a fun holiday template to start with. So the 5th tool we want to talk about today is content. Content, again, is how you can get found online, but it's a great way to provide value through the holiday season. It doesn't always have to be about those discounts. Content can be an added value or an event to really draw people in to shop with you. And this can then become content that fuels other areas like email and your social media posts. Now, we provided a few details and examples earlier, but could you talk about some more examples for content related resources that can be used for a holiday offer?
Yeah, so I think it boils down to, again, the nature of your business. What is it that you're offering? And really thinking about, are there any things that we can do to kind of tie into the holiday to keep your business top of mind and have people start to view you as a valuable resource, right? Because when you think about content just in general, right, it's kind of what fuels everything that happens online, right? It's the things that people search for, it's what they consume, it's what they share, right? And that's really important. And typically it's those things that provide them some type of value, whether that's, it could be a sale or a discount, and other times it could be something completely different, like some of the things that we're going to mention here. But if you're thinking about how can you best help these people that you're trying to reach, right? In some instances, it could be a holiday gift guide. Sorry. So we're talking about like Saluna Farm here that's on the right. So like, what are some of the things that they offer that maybe they're gift ideas of, like pulling together different herbs and spices, pulling together different teas that they sell, right? Thinking about that, looking at maybe some of, if you're an industry that runs on trends, right? Sharing that information with your audience and letting them know things that they should be thinking about. Maybe it's, right, like how to just gift giving help, right? Like how to wrap gifts, how to do that, right? Thinking about recipes, all of those types of things that you can kind of tie into. And so it's really about finding some creativity in what it is that you're offering or what your business does that provides some value to people beyond just, hey, buy this thing, right? So I think that's important to think about.
Yeah, it's not always about sell, sell, sell. It's about that staying top of mind and value that we've been talking about throughout the webinar today. So the last tool we want you to consider in your plan is paid ads. I would like for you all to raise your hand if you've ever run any sort of paid ad. Maybe it's a Google search ad or even an ad on social media like Facebook or Instagram. If you have, go ahead and raise your hand. We see Tanja. I hope I said your name correctly. Brenda, okay, so not too many of you. Well, this is something I want to encourage you to take advantage of because these types of ads can help you to reach a targeted audience in order to really amplify your efforts in especially what you're doing in all of the other channels. We have really easy to use tools that'll make it easy for any of you to go in and create an ad. Google Ads are what you'll want to use if you want to reach people in search. You can drive people directly to the store on your website to make a purchase. Then we've got Facebook lead ads, which is what we see here in the middle. These are great for those of you who want to grow your email list. Great to grow your email list before or even during the holidays. And then on the right, we've got regular Facebook and Instagram ads. These can help you to directly drive business. You can drive it to your website, or maybe you want to feature a product line that you have, and that way you can drive them to purchase directly from that ad. Now, these types of ads are great because, again, you can use targeting and get really specific to find the people who are most likely to buy from you in the first place. On social, you're going to have the ability to target people based on interests, age, location, and gender. And when using Google Ads, you're going to be able to target people with keywords and even their location so that you can find the right audience. Dave, what kind of tips do you have for our audience to think about when it comes to running an effective ad this holiday season?
Yeah, so you on the screen prior you had like La Provence there, and I think one of the things to think about, again, this becomes this idea of targeting and really, again, staying top of mind. And so when you think of like a way to start thinking about this, maybe like, oh, who are the people that shopped with me in the holiday last year, right? Like, you have a list of those people, you segment those people out. Those could be people that you target with a message, right, in the inbox for a particular offer. And then you think about creating something like a lookalike audience or trying to target those people again on social media with an ad, right? It offers another opportunity for you to get that message in front of them and get them to take a particular action. I think the nice thing about at Facebook, Google, all of those things is the targeting options that you have. It really helps you think about just a locality, a mile radius, those types of things, interests, things like that, that you can really get precise with the people that you're trying to reach. And I think that's important, particularly when you have a local business. And so you want to think about where are the people coming from that are going to be shopping with you, and thinking about targeting those areas. The other thing, of course, is thinking about the headlines that you're writing, right? The copy that you're going to have. Again, use really good images of your products or services, or depending on what's going on, people using those images. Of course, any video or things like that seem to be working well right now. So try to connect visually with people and have a clear call to action. What are they going to get by doing that thing, right? Whether it's an offer to get some type of 15% off, as the example you have here on the screen, or whether it's something in exchange for, again, trying to build that list leading up to the holiday.
All great things to think about there. Now, as we start to think about how to actually execute this plan, here's what your calendar can start to look like. And I want to make sure we cover a few more things and get to questions. So I'm going to go over it fairly quick. I might start out by planning for the holidays. Maybe we'll focus on Black Friday for this one. If we plan to, let's say, update at the website, those listings and review site, and those social profiles with the essential information and our offer where we can, that's a good place to start. And then here's what it looked like if we start to do that 3 email plan. And if we start to use the social media to have top of mind posts and really get people engaged with us and paying attention. And then also if we use that 3 post plan to announce, remind, and then provide a last chance reminder. We've got a guide or a worksheet that I'll share here in just a couple of minutes that you can follow this and just go into the calendar in your account and just make some changes. Also with Facebook and Instagram ads, if we start to run one of those the week of Thanksgiving. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about how to prepare for ongoing success after the holidays. I think one of the best places to start is to actually review the results so that you can understand what worked and what didn't after the holidays. Dave, can you tell us about some of the most important stats that we'd want to pay attention to and what they should mean for our marketing moving forward?
Sure. So, there's a couple of things obviously you're going to want to think about across all of these things that you're doing on all of these different platforms, right? You're obviously going to want to review your open and click rates. You're going to want to look at, like, what are the results of your ads? Are you reaching enough people? Are people actually interested in those ads that you're putting out? Are people engaging with the things that you're doing on social? Are they liking it? Are they commenting? Are they sharing that information? You can also start to pay attention to, are you getting new subscribers with the things that you're doing in terms of the email? But I think ultimately with all of these things, ultimately what you're really looking for is paying attention to the idea of what's happening beyond the opens and clicks and the engagement that you're getting, right? Are anybody taking, or are people taking those actions that you want them to take? So whether that's actually visiting your website and ultimately making a purchase, or clicking on something and then doing something and actually giving you the money for that thing, that's what you really want to pay attention to. I see a question here that we have from Carla, and I just wanted to mention it. It was something around, doing regular email and weekly flash sales now instead of doing the monthly email that she was doing before, and she's seeing a higher unsubscribe rate. Well, the question that I would have back to you is, are you seeing a higher sales rate, right? Because that's the real driver of this, because those people unsubscribing are likely people that weren't going to buy from you in that format anyway. But if you're sending more emails and you're getting more sales, well, who cares about the people that have unsubscribed, right? I think the problem is if you see people unsubscribing and nobody's buying, that's when you're going to run into an issue, and that's when you're going to want to start to be concerned and maybe try something different. But if more people are buying because of what you're doing, well, that's ultimately what you wanted to have happen to begin with, right? So that's the good thing. So that's what I would start to look at there, and really start looking at those things. And if you have the information already, right? We talked about setting goals, right? Look at this stuff, what happened last year, so you can compare it to what you're doing this year. And that's ultimately how you start to make adjustments and try to do things better.
On your point about the unsubscribes, Dave, I did just want to mention, people typically unsubscribe, or what we're typically seeing is people are unsubscribing because they're finding the information not relevant to them as well. So it might be that, they say they're getting too many emails, but really sometimes it actually comes down to the fact that they are not receiving emails that are relevant to them. And that's where segmentation really plays an important role, especially when it comes to email marketing. So the other opportunity we want you to plan for is to create an after holiday offer. If you think about it, people are getting cash and gift cards during the holidays, and you want to make sure to capitalize on that. Dave, can you share some tips or even examples of ways they can create and promote an after holiday offer?
Yeah, so I think the big thing is to really think, again, this gets into that segment. You're gonna hear, you've heard us say this word a lot here, right? But think about segmenting based on what are those things that people have purchased from you. And so it might mean that there is something that is either relative to those things that they've already purchased for you that they may be interested in as well, right? So you're making recommendations based on their recent behavior. The other thing is to think about, you know, what are those things that they bought? Because it doesn't always have to be an offer in the sense of selling something, right? It could be something where you're making recommendations based on what they have purchased so that they can get better usage of that thing and become a longer term customer with you. But really start to look at the data that you have, look at those segments, pay attention to who did what, and then think about, again, what are those right offers to make after the fact that can help them potentially purchase something that is a good complement or that is, again, relevant to them based on what actions they've taken in the past.
Definitely. And that all just kind of goes back to not just selling all the time, really making sure you're providing value. When it comes to planning for consistent marketing into the new year as well, don't just think about the holidays here. Think about holidays into the new year that can pair well with your business. Those fun holidays like National Donut Day that you can have an offer or send an email around or something like that. Uh, and also make sure you're going in and really planning out your content. I'm not sure how many of you are already using Constant Contact, but we've got a newer feature. If you go to the campaigns tab, and then kind of towards the top left under the dark blue bar, you'll see the option for the calendar view. And right now it has a bright blue box that says new in there. You can go in and then start to plot out what you want to send or what you want to share on social media and when. And that way you can start working through all of those, create your email campaigns and the content for your posts and even your ads as you're going along. So I just want to recap really quickly so we can get to all of these great questions coming in. Make sure that you take some time now to really plan for the holidays, plan out your goals so you can plan out your marketing activities. Write it down so that you can stay on track. And again, if you're not already selling online, please make sure it's an important part of your strategy this year. We really want to see you succeed. Make sure that you're executing your plan. You've got those 6 marketing tools. It's not just about using social. It's not just about using email. It's about using all of those tools together, including paid ads, because they can really help you to amplify your efforts and help you to reach new people. And don't forget to take advantage and capitalize on that after holiday spending. Get in front of your customers with an offer or some sort of value added that entices them to come back and shop with you again. Now, we've actually put together, I mentioned it a little earlier, a page with tons of holiday resources to help with your holiday marketing. I'm going to go ahead and share a couple of links here in the chat window, but you can go there, you can get a copy of the checklist that I mentioned. And also, if you are brand new to Constant Contact and you'd like to sign up for a free trial, you can do it from that page as well. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and get to all of these questions. What I do want to mention is if you have to close out early and when we end this session, you will get the opportunity to fill out a survey. It will just take a minute or two. So please go ahead and leave us your feedback. We'd really love to know what you thought. So Claudia asks, I do have a website. Is it a good idea to supplement with a shoppable landing page? Dave, I'll let you tackle that one first.
Yeah, so I guess it will depend, Claudia, on, you say you have a website. Hopefully that means people can actually purchase from your website. If they can't, obviously, yes, a shoppable landing page would be great to do that because it allows people to actually go to a page where they can buy. And I think that's important. The other time that I think it might be worthwhile to supplement with a shoppable landing page would be if you have a website that doesn't allow you to point to specific products or services or things that you're trying to sell, because ultimately it's never a good idea, particularly online, point people to a place where they have to figure out what to do, right? You want to talk about something specific and say, here's the page to learn more about that thing that is specific. So, so the answer is potentially, depending on what your situation is.
Yeah, it's not black or white. And if you just have a website not selling online at all, I want to encourage you to create that shoppable landing page. But then when you publish it, you'll be able to get a landing page URL. You can share it anywhere, but also make sure that you're creating maybe a button or a tab on your website where people can go and buy from you from that landing page as well. But there's a lot of different scenarios, as Dave was saying. So another question here from Linda: how often should you send out an email in general? And I think that's a very popular question. You want to tackle it first, Dave?
Yeah, let me tackle that first, and actually that might segue us nicely into showing the next slide here in a second, because like I think actually that's one of the questions that we get all the time, and there's a couple of ways to think about it. And unfortunately, the answer is it depends, right? Because everybody is really a little bit different. And so a lot of it has to do with, what are the expectations you're setting with people when they sign up or when they join your list? And then secondly, it also depends on the nature of your business specifically. Again, e-com, retail, you can typically send a little bit more than maybe some other industries, but it's really, I would say at the very least, if you're just getting started with this and you're doing something, you want to send at least once a month, because it's an opportunity to, again, stay top of mind and let people know that you exist. But in some instances, it might be worthwhile to send a lot more frequently. That could be once a week, depending again on those expectations you set. Maybe actually, like Steph, if you want to show the next slide, because I'm excited about something that we have coming that's not available at the moment, but I wanted to share coming soon with you. We actually have a pro package that is coming out that actually helps you solve this problem a little bit on figuring out how much to send, because it uses automation and it uses artificial intelligence to actually learn the behaviors of your customers based on what they're doing, and it allows you to create those smart segments and automatically send messages to them at the right times. It anticipates that. So basically, if you're a customer that has 5,000 or more contacts and you are using an e-commerce platform such as Shopify, BigCommerce, or Magento, this pro package is going to be something that you're really going to be interested to learn more about, and so stay tuned. We'll have more information on that sometime coming soon, but it really takes the guesswork out of like, how often should I send? Well, it's going to tell you based on the individual contacts and the behaviors of them, so that you can actually sell a lot more in a lot less time. So it's pretty cool, and like I said, really excited about it.
Awesome. Yes, I'm very excited about that package too. I think we have a couple more questions. So Dave, I hope maybe we can stay on for a couple more minutes. I know we're a little bit past the top of the hour, but if you have to leave, feel free. And these questions are going to be recorded. So we'll just try to cover as many in the next 5 minutes or so. Is that okay with you, Dave?
I actually do need to leave. I have time for one more question, but then I do have to jump off.
All right. Well, I will stay and tackle as many more as we have. All right. So Adriana asks, are there any fees for selling on a landing page? And the answer is yes. Let me grab the link to the pricing. I believe it's like a 3% fee if I'm remembering it off the top of my head before getting to the page, but and this also depends on which it doesn't depend on which package you have. It's at the same fee for anything that you sell.
Steph, while you're looking for that, I just wanted to say I actually do have to jump off, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone here who was able to join us. I hope you find the information valuable. As Steph mentioned, please do be sure to let us know as you leave the webinar today. But thank you, and you'll be in good hands here with Steph answering the rest of your questions.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so yes, if you go to that page, I just shared it in the chat window there with everyone. But you'll be able to go down the page and you can sell unlimited products. And actually, no, the transaction fee is 1.5%. I don't know why I was doubling that. So yes, per transaction. Yeah, great question. All right, let's see what other questions we have in here. And actually, I'm not seeing too many more questions. I do see that Christopher asked, would these ideas apply to commercial sector emails to property managers and operations directors? Obviously, mine will be a call to action, not necessarily discount offers initially. Yes, a lot of these tips and suggestions that we've been talking about today can certainly apply there. It ultimately comes down to really making sure that you're understanding your audience. Again, targeting if you're using ads, really segmenting your list when you're using email marketing, because once you do that, you're going to be able to get the right offers and the right messaging in front of people. That's really probably one of the biggest takeaways from what we've been talking about today. All right. So I do see that I believe we've covered all of them. If you, for some reason, I missed your question, definitely let us know. Webinars@constantcontact.com, and we'll be sure to get it answered. We've also got a really great support team who can help to answer any questions or help you to get started with your holiday marketing as well. So I'm going to go ahead and log off for this session today. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found it really valuable. Again, please take a minute or two to tell us what you thought about the webinar and provide us any feedback that you have. I wish you all wonderful success this holiday season and into the new year. So have a great day. Bye.